My name is Zach. I'm from Jersey, and this upcoming fall, I'm going to be heading to Chicago, to DePaul University, to grab my BFA acting degree. This past fall-winter audition season was not my first. The first time I'd ever done it was when I was 17 years old, a senior in high school back in 2020, which is the year I graduated. I think if you could classify a step 0 in the whole monologue process, it would be knowing your lines. My first audition cycle was very surface level. I mean, considering the fact that with some of my monologues that I'd prepared, I didn't even know half the words. Surface level was pretty much all I could get. So this time out, the most important thing that helped me was specificity. Heading into my first few coaching sessions, I felt really confident. I felt really confident that what I was about to show was something that was going to shatter, the multiverse or something. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. It wasn't, and this is why I think coaching really helped me in the first place, was because I was doing something that in my head felt 100% right and good, because beforehand my bad tendencies had maybe been enabled or encouraged. I think it's really helpful to have a second or even a third perspective. If I could define my style before, I was just getting the words out and made an attempt at making them sound as emotional as I possibly could, and that can only get you so far. Specificity is really important, but I think your relationship to the piece and story is just as important. There'd been a piece I was working on from the summer through till the fall, and I really thought I was gonna go with it. But as time went on, and as I was exposed to some of my bad tendencies and tried to dissect how exactly they came about, I started to question whether or not that piece and that character was right for me. I ended up going back to the piece that I'd done 2 years ago, my contemporary dramatic piece. I think that's because not only could I imagine myself saying the words that the character said within the piece, but also when I found out why he was saying what he said, it resonated with me on a completely new level. The name of the play is The House of Ramon Iglesia. It's written by Jose Rivera, and the main protagonist of the story is a young man named Javier whose family had emigrated from Puerto Rico. And while in America, he kind of starts to ostracize himself from his family and is almost ashamed of their ways and how distinct they are amongst everybody in the country. And throughout the story, I think he learns to shed that shame off and embrace his culture, embrace his people and distinctiveness, because that's what ultimately makes him him, and that's ultimately what makes his family themselves. It's their struggle. It's the fact that they came from a different country. And as someone whose parents are also immigrants and who also kind of struggled with that whole fitting in thing, I was like, man, this hits deep. And I feel like that's how you should feel about all of your monologues, because not only are you showing the character, but you're also showing yourself within the character. Shakespeare was an entirely different story. I still, to this day, feel kind of lost. How was I supposed to step into the shoes of a character who had such bizarre circumstances? Like with Macbeth, for example, bumping into three witches who tell him a prophecy on how he's supposed to become king. And it's like, cool. But how do I relate to that? And I think, at least for me, a part of being able to relate to it was just embracing how ridiculous it is, embracing how bizarre it is. You're showing yourself. You have to focus on being the truest version of yourself, and I think that definitely has to reflect in your pieces. I would say also to just welcome the unpredictability of it all. Welcome the idea the train wants to say goodbye as well. Be ready to switch at a moment's notice to something else, to try something else. Because I know I most certainly had to myself one too many times. But at the end of the day, I can only wish you guys the greatest of luck. And again, if you made it to this point, congratulations to you. This is Zach signing out. Have a great night.